Was I right to ask my unwanted roommate to leave? Right now, my husband's friend is staying with us. He's going through a tough divorce and claims his soon-to-be ex-wife is violent and unstable. However, I'm skeptical about his side of the story, especially since his ex-wife has accused him of marital rape. I don't fully trust his account of what's happening. The first time he stayed with us, he basically invited himself and said it would only be for a week, but it ended up being a month and it put a huge strain on our marriage. He even started comparing some of our behaviors to his ex-wife's, which was really frustrating. I told him straight out that I'm not his ex-wife, and if he does that again, he'll have to leave. Not long after that, he packed up and left. The reason he came back to live with us was because he was making suicide threats. I'm not sure how serious they were, but my husband felt concerned and invited him to stay again. However, he doesn't pull his weight around the house. He doesn't cook, clean, or do laundry, and only pays a small amount of rent. Most of his time is spent on his computer. When I ask him to help with something, it takes him a long time, usually 2 hours, to get it done. Now that we're expecting our second child, I'm feeling even more frustrated that this guy is still living in our second largest room. Recently, he made some insensitive comments about women and infertility, which was the final straw for me. I told my husband that he needs to leave our house as soon as possible. The housemate is now upset with me and has started ignoring me or going straight to my husband when there's an issue. He claims he can't afford to find a new place to rent, but somehow managed to attend an expensive event in our hometown. I'm at my wit's end. Am I wrong for wanting him to leave our home?
Story 2.
Am I right to feel upset? Is what happened considered cheating? I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend 27F for almost 2 years now. We recently took a big step and moved in together in March. But a couple of weeks ago, something really strange and worrying happened. I woke up and didn't receive any calls or texts from her, which is totally out of character for her. She usually works until 3 or 4 a.m., so I was expecting to hear from her. When I didn't, I called her to check in and asked if she was okay and where she was. She explained that she had gone to an after-hours spot by herself, which was supposed to be a meetup with some girls she had met at the bar where she works as a cook. She often works late hours and meets new people at the bar, so I understood that part. But what really concerned me was what happened next. Apparently, the girls she was supposed to meet never showed up, and she ended up doing cocaine with some random guy who was there. She swore that nothing else happened between them, but I'm still really worried and unsure about the situation. About a week ago, my mom underwent open heart surgery, which was incredibly stressful for me. The procedure took longer than expected, and there were some complications, making it a really tough day. All I wanted was to talk to my girlfriend about my day and vent to her when she got home at midnight. But instead, she surprised me by getting off work early at 10:30 p.m. She said she needed to drop something off at our sister location, but when she got there, she ran into a friend who was bartending a girl she knows, and then she decided to stay there for 2 more hours until 12:30 a.m. I was really upset that she chose to stay at the bar instead of coming home to support me on such a difficult day, especially after my mom's surgery. This past Sunday, a similar situation happened again. She stayed late at the bar where she works, drinking with 2 former coworkers, a female she used to work with and a male cook she never actually worked with. I was waiting for her to come home so we could cook dinner together and spend some time together. But again, she kept saying she'd be home soon, but soon turned into hours, and I ended up getting impatient and going to bed. It felt like déjà vu, and I'm getting frustrated with these repeated instances. Last night, she came home from therapy and brought up Sunday's incident again. "Hey, remember Sunday when I was out drinking with the old cook?" she asked. I said yes, and then she dropped a bombshell. Well, before I left, the male cook and I were talking by my truck, and we were both pretty drunk. And he leaned in and kissed me, and I kissed him back. She quickly added that it was totally out of character for her, and that she had already blocked him on all platforms and sent him a message saying she's in a happy relationship and that it was a mistake. I've been cheated on before, and my first instinct is to end things and start figuring out our living situation. I'm thinking about either sticking it out until our lease ends in March or finding a way to exit the lease early and sorting out my own living arrangements ASAP. But then again, maybe I'm overreacting and it's not as big of a deal as I think. She did own up to what happened 2 days later, and it's not like they had sex. However, if I let this incident slide, it makes me wonder if I'll have to let slide future incidents too. I'm torn between giving her another chance and protecting myself from potential further hurt.
Story 3.
I'm a 23-year-old guy, and something really weird happened to me recently. I woke up to find my girlfriend, who's also 23, deliberately pouring water into my ears while I was sleeping. I'm trying to understand what's going on. Is there a name for this kind of behavior? After managing to remove most of the water from my ears, I'm relieved to say that my hearing is almost back to normal. I was shocked by how much water had actually gone, and it was a lot more than I expected. And I was equally surprised by how much my hearing had been affected. It was really muffled and unclear until the water came out. The whole experience has left me with a nagging suspicion that this might not have been an isolated incident. I'm starting to wonder if she's been doing this to me for a while now. What's really concerning me is that I can still feel water trapped deep inside my left ear canal. It's like my ear is telling me that something's not quite right. For the past 2 weeks, I've been experiencing a strange sensation of fluid in my ears. This feeling is familiar to me since I had ear infections every year when I was a kid. Concerned, I visited both my regular doctor and an ear, nose, and throat specialist to get checked for an ear infection. However, both doctors told me that everything looks normal and there's nothing wrong with my ears. It was a really bizarre and unsettling experience, lying completely still on the bed while she poured water into my right ear. In that moment, it hit me all my recent ear problems were caused by her. It was a shocking realization, and I felt like I was in a nightmare, unable to move or escape as I understood the truth. After she left the room, I lay on my back, and some of the water finally drained out of my ear. I heard my girlfriend make a disappointed sound, like a lip smack, followed by a sigh of frustration, "Ah, man." Then, I could hear her typing away on her phone. She quietly got back into bed, trying not to draw attention to herself. She has no idea that I'm aware of what she's been doing. The way she smacked her lips, the sound of her texting, and how she casually got back into bed without trying to be quiet, it all suggests she's been doing this for a while and isn't trying to hide it anymore. This, combined with her bipolar disorder, makes me suspect that this behavior is a manifestation of her condition. It's not something she can control, and I don't blame her for it.